Welcome to the stage, please, the creative team behind Black Hat. So, unusual this time, because we're doing the Q&A before the film, which is, kind of weird, but that's the way it is. I'm going to kick off with a few questions about the film, trying not to give too much of the plot and story away, because none of you have seen it yet. And because this is the world premiere of Black Cat, so we're very excited to have it screened here. So, where do we start?
My name is Jan Rodalis. I was the producer of Black Cat.
Hello, I'm Nick Frost.
Hello, Bruce Grissom, I'm director of the film.
And I'm Lucy Robinson, and
Okay, so maybe tell us a little bit about how this whole thing started off. Where did it come from, this idea of this movie?
well, it came about because we, Jan and I were working for Nick and Simon and Peg at a production company, Sony Picture, and we were approached by Shudder, who said we'd really like to do a horror film with Nick, and they were very specific about what they wanted. They just said we want him to be a cab driver, and we wanted to be in a black cab, and we want him to take some people to their doom, not the script. And so that's what we did.
Okay. So it started as an idea, simply as an idea. Cab, Nick, cab,
Yes.
that was it? That
Yes.
was the,
Yes.
Okay. And then it all grew from there.
It doesn't, sorry. It hardly happens like that at all, really. During the process of getting a film, you usually write a script and then send it to people with the hope of them saying, oh, yeah, we kind of like it. So usually it's like, yeah, it's not for us. But for someone to be so specific in terms of Black Cat, Nick Frost, Doom, it doesn't ever happen like that. And I always think it should happen like that, because it's easier. It would be easier to go to a company to say, what do you want? And then we can make that for you. That should be the way, really.
But this formed in a very different way. So, Bruce, how did you get involved?
Lucy asked me. Lucy and I have been involved in a series called Born to Kill, Channel 4, which is the story of a psychopath and how he came to be a psychopath. And I think that because most of what I do is based in the real world, I think that what Lucy and what I was bringing was a certain reality to the ghost story. I hadn't really shot a ghost story before.
Are you giving something away already?
So it was about, I think, creating something a little bit more grounded within the genre. Because I think this drama was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. And, I can't wait to actually see it with you guys because we've none of us seen it yet in front of an audience. And I think that to also see Nick in that seat, in that cab, for 20 days, glued to that scene, was brilliant because I think he tried to create a performance that not only worked with some of Nick's already pre-existing natural
Psychopathy.
And also a little bit of darkness and reality in that darkness as well, and trying to draw that performance into a really interesting space. So I hope you'll enjoy the performance as I did.
I mean, people were saying I'm character actor because I stayed in the cab for 20 days, but the truth was it was just warm. I had a cocoon of warmth while everyone worked around the outside of the room.
Jan, tell us about your role in the film.
Well, I was a producer on the film, and also we were actually going to shoot it a year earlier than we did, but then Nick, who's a very busy actor, wasn't available, so we had to wait for a while. But we always knew we had to shoot it at this time of year. It all takes place at night. Sorry, that's a brilliant spoiler.
We can get away with it.
It was a 50-50.
Yeah. So we knew we had to shoot it when the days were short, so we had an easy project to work on. And we managed to do that around here.
I'm going to ask you because the film is shot around Manchester. Can you tell us a bit about that as
Yes.
well?
It's shot. We shot 4 weeks. 4 weeks. 3 weeks on location and 1 week in the studio. and
5-day weeks. Right?
5 day weeks, so 20 days in
What a
total.
luxury.
Yeah, 20 days shoot. And some inner city locations, but also we shot in some woods near Bolton. We shot in Bolton itself. Yeah, and it's cold and it's dark.
You shot in November.
We shot in November. Yeah.
And also,
So
just behind the station here as well.
Well, I would say it's a kind of psychological thriller, but it's also a supernatural thriller. It's kind of, somewhere between the two. It blends those genres together. I'm wondering how you felt about approaching the performance, because it's not a comedy. This is not a comedy. It's not, it's not a funny film. It's very serious, and your character is really dark and quite a psychological character. Can you tell us a bit about that?
I kept my wife tied up in the shed. Not continuing. No, look, I mean, with every character I hopefully play, it's not. I don't think there's just someone who's funny or someone who's angry or someone who's, you know what I mean? Every human is everything at once, So I think the nice thing about this character is you shouldn't like him on paper. He's a horrible beast, He is a real beast, but if I've done it right, then you should leave here tonight feeling kind of mixed in terms of, I feel sorry for him. And you shouldn't, And I like doing that. I mean, it's funny because I call it putting the fun back into funeral in terms of, some of the best laughs I've ever had being at funerals and wakes and stuff like that. So for me, that's what a person is. There are all of these things at once. So it's quite easy to slip in from comedy to cycle.
Well, they always say comedy and tragedy are so close.
Yeah.
Kind of,
Yeah, so, it's just a question of wanting to do the best and wanting Bruce laughing and not getting fired and wanting to make something who's funny and charming and tender and a lunatic.
What about the other cast in the film? How did they come about or get attached to the film?
Well, they don't get so far.
So this is a regular casting process, so we cast Sonova and cast Luke. Luke I've worked with in the past. Sonova was new to me, but she, hopefully you'll agree with you, had a really great quality of strength in the end, but she goes through quite a lot before she, I won't give too much away, before she becomes strong, but in the first instance she's in quite a horrible relationship, and I think it's through that Nick's character sort of able to see almost savable that.
Yes, yeah.
But that again, without giving too much away. So it's just really a three-hander inside a cab for quite a long period of time. So buckle up.
Lucy,
I was going to say as well, just in terms of me and Sonova, I think she really goes through it in this film. She was dragged around and screamed at and abused, and I think there's a weird thing when you're an actor is yes it's acting, but the kind of gland inside your brain which protects you from other tribe members and wolves doesn't know it's not real. So I think there was a lot of trust there that me and Sonova had, which was really nice. It was really nice to be with someone and to respect them and to form a boundary in terms of, okay, well, we have to do this. And, just to look after one another, which is really nice on a film, because we've got to do awful things to her, So it's, she really went through the ringer, I think, in this. So when you watch it, bear in mind.
I was just wondering, Lucy, can you talk about any challenges you had on the production side in terms of making a movie? I mean, some of the locations or shooting up here in Manchester or around with it.
Well, actually, I think in terms of the case.
Okay. Okay, fine.
Mainly just because of our slightly different roles. So my role was much more working the script a bit early to the stage, just talking to Shannon, asking, and then once I actually got to production, I did the classic executive producer thing, which is not go to all the really difficult shoots and just
All the cold night shoots.
exactly, and just turn up and go, oh, you're all wonderful, and then disappear again. So I think yeah, it would be better.
Well, you mentioned Shudder. The film will be released on Shudder
Yes.
later in the year, I think.
Yes. We're still waiting for, I think it'll be this year, but we're still waiting to have it confirmed which day.
So let people know, folks, that we can hit in Shudder sometime before the end of the year. Okay, so I'm going to maybe open up to for a few questions. People have questions in the audience. You might have to shout. Anybody got a question? I know it's difficult because you've never seen the film, but you want to ask about...
Be general knowledge.
You want to ask any questions?
Happy films.
Is acting...
There we go.
Side question, why the location down here in Manchester?
Manchester's fantastic. I'm from nearby, not that that was the deciding influence, but it was, Manchester's such a, there's a gothic element to it, there's the countryside element, because you'll see there's a lot of different kinds of roads. Also, what was fixing was pouring rain and fog.
That will be it.
That bit. And Manchester did deliver.
Didn't disappoint.
Did not disappoint. So yeah, I think Manchester's a fantastic location. There's lots of different things to see here. You know, we did one of the early scenes in Bolton. The last part of the film was in a place that we call Maybar Woods. It's a very famous dogging site. Anybody know that one? and then another early part of the film was just behind Piccadilly on those rather wonderful tunnels that are underneath the trains that make that fantastic sound as well. So we took advantage of that sound.
Anybody else have a question? I thought so. Okay, can you shout?
Yeah, go.
I can give you a microphone. It keeps me busy.
Yeah, hi Nick. Do you prefer playing the bad guys to the comedy roles?
I don't see any difference at all, really. It's just thanks. This man said you prefer to play the bad guy in the comedy role, and I'm saying quite passive-aggressively. I don't see there's no difference at all in terms of how I prepare, or it's the same thing, you know. Horrible bad, you can also be funny and find things funny. So I don't see it.
Anybody else?
Mid to back row now, please. Front row.
Somebody with a hand up, right?
Hello. You said at the start about how it was a Nick and Black Cow, and that was how it was pushed. So how often does that happen in the industry? It reminded me a little bit of like that whole sort of old school star system with Hollywood, and you know, star and say this is what we're going to do with it. So how often does that happen in the industry now, and what are the pros and cons of a script led and star led?
Hardly ever. I suppose. Well, I think, as Nick said, I think it's helpful actually, because it gave us. I mean, my concern, obviously, and I'm sure Nick shared this, was, you know, something that's going to be 90 minutes long with 3 people in a cab, and also the money that we had. We didn't have lots of money, so we knew that we were going to be very contained in what we could do, and it was how will we not make that boring in a world where people see, you know, so much action, so much happens now in films. You know, how do we make that interesting and engaging and terrifying, and it not feel like it's static, or it feels like it's a stage play? So that was the kind of creative challenge, and then that all becomes about quality of the writing, complexity of the characters, and the brilliance of the acting. And we were very lucky to have very brilliant actors and very brilliant directors. So that, I think we pulled that off. But that was what, you know. So I was worried about.
I also have a very brilliant composer who's here in the audience, Gazelle Quinn. So she's hand up. There she is. Take a bit of a risk and obviously a great deal of money. And it's about the music is such a, the sound is so important to these kinds of films. When you haven't got a lot of money, sound becomes super important, almost like another narrative. So yeah, that's the full picture.
Okay, I reckon we've got time for maybe one more question.
Hey guys, how's it going? Just curious, well, how many shooting days did you guys have, and what was your budget like?
20.
20 days.
20 days. What was the second part?
What was your budget like?
About $2 million.
Dollars.
$2 million?
Dollars.
Italian lira.
How many shooting days total? 20? That's good, thanks.
22 days.
20 days.
Okay, so I think we've got time for one more question. Anybody has a question?
Make it good.
See you before, absolutely.
Why don't you tell us in 90 minutes?
Okay. So,
Yes.
we're going to kick off with the film in a minute. Thank our guests for being with us, please. Big round of